On a clear, sunny day in April 2014, 2F divided by a -18S took off for an air combat training mission off the coast of Virginia. The jets, part of my Navy fighter squadron, climbed to an altitude of 12,000 and steered towards Warning Area W-72, an exclusive block of airspace 10 miles east of Virginia Beach. All traffic into the training area goes through a single GPS point at a set altitude, almost like a doorway into a massive room where military jets can operate without running into other aircraft. Just at the moment the two jets crossed the threshold, one of the pilots saw a dark gray cube inside of a clear sphere, motionless against the wind, fixed directly at the entry point. The jets, only 100 feet apart, zipped past the object on either side. The pilots had come so dangerously close to something they couldn't identify that they terminated the training mission immediately, and returned to base. "I almost hit one of those damn things," the flight leader, still shaken by the incident, told us shortly after in the pilot's ready room. We all knew exactly what he meant. Those damn things had been plaguing us for the previous 8 months. Us military pilots undergo years of rigorous training as a pilot. Specifically, we are trained to be expert observers in identifying aircraft with our sensors and our own eyes. It's our job to know what's in our operating area. That's why, in 2014, after upgrades were made to our radar system, our squadron made a startling discovery. There were unknown objects in our airspace. Initially, the objects were showing up on our newly upgraded radars and we assumed they were ghosts in the machine, or software glitches. But then we began to correlate the radar tracks with multiple surveillance systems, including infrared sensors that detected heat signatures. Then came the hair-raising near misses that required us to take evasive action. These were no mere balloons. The unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP, accelerated at speeds up to Mach 1, the speed of sound. They could hold their position, appearing motionless, despite Category 4 hurricane force winds of 120 knots. They did not have any visible means of lift, control surfaces, or propulsion. In other words, nothing that resembled normal aircraft with wings, flaps, or engines. And they outlasted our fighter jets, operating continuously throughout the day. I am a formally trained engineer, but the technology they demonstrated defied my understanding. After that near miss, we had no choice but to submit a safety report, hoping that something could be done before it was too late. But there was no official acknowledgement of what we experienced and no further mechanism to report the sightings, even as other aircrew flying along the East Coast quietly began sharing similar experiences. Our only option was to cancel or move our training, as the UAP continued to maneuver in our vicinity unchecked. Nearly a decade later we still don't know what they were. When I retired from the Navy in 2019, I was the first active-duty pilot to come forward publicly and testify to Congress. In the years since, there has been some notable coverage of the encounters and Congress has taken some action to force the military and intelligence agencies to do much more to get to the bottom of these mysteries. But there has not been anything near the level of public and official attention that has been paid to the recent shoot-downs of a Chinese spy balloon and the 3 other unknown objects that were likely research balloons. And that's a problem. Advanced objects demonstrating cutting-edge technology that we cannot explain are routinely flying over our military bases, or entering restricted airspace. UAP events continue to occur in restricted or sensitive airspace, highlighting possible concerns for safety of flight or adversary collection activity, the Director of National Intelligence reported last month, citing 247 new reports over the last 17 months. Some UAP appeared to remain stationary in winds aloft, move against the wind, maneuver abruptly, or move at considerable speed, without discernible means of propulsion. The Navy has also officially acknowledged 11 near misses with UAP that required evasive action, and triggered mandatory safety reports between 2004 and 2021. Advanced UAP also pose a growing safety hazard to commercial airliners. Last May, the Federal Aviation Administration issued an alert after a passenger aircraft flying over West Virginia experienced a rare failure of 2 major systems while passing underneath what appeared to be a UAP. One thing we do know is these craft aren't part of some classified U.S. project. We were quite confident that was not the explanation, Scott Bray, the Deputy Director of the Office of Naval Intelligence, testified before Congress last year. Florida Senator Marco Rubio confirmed in a recent interview that whatever the origin of these objects, it is not the U.S. military. We have things flying over our military bases and places where we're conducting military exercises. And we don't know what it is and it isn't ours, said Rubio, who is vice chair of the Intelligence Committee. President Joe Biden rightly points out the real national security and aviation safety risks, from foreign intelligence collection to hazard to civilian air traffic, that arise from low-tech, balloon-like entities. I applaud his new order to create an interagency UAP task force and a government-wide effort to address unidentified objects, and his proposal to make sure all aerial craft are registered and identifiable according to a global standard is good common sense. However, what the president did not address during his press conference February 16 were the UAP that exhibit advanced performance capabilities. Where is the transparency and urgency from the administration and Congress to investigate highly advanced objects in restricted airspace that our military cannot explain? How will this new task force be more effective than existing efforts if we are not being clear and direct about the scope and nature of advanced UAP?
Please subscribe as it really helps the channel grow.